Welcome to today's Catholic Daily Readings from Christus Dominus Bread of Life. A reading from the second book of Samuel. Therefore, David went and brought the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with joy. And there were with David 7 choirs and calves for victims. And when those who were carrying the ark of the Lord had traveled 6 steps, he immolated an ox and a ram. And David danced with all his ability before the Lord, and David was girded with the linen ephod. And David and all the house of Israel were leading the ark of the testament of the Lord, with jubilation and the sound of the trumpet. And they led in the ark of the Lord, and they set it in its place in the middle of the tabernacle, which David had pitched for it. And David offered holocausts and peace offerings in the sight of the Lord. And when he had completed offering holocausts and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts. And he distributed to the entire multitude of Israel, as much to men as to women, to each one, 1 loaf of bread and 1 piece of roasted beef, and fine wheat flour fried with oil. And all the people went away, each one to his own house.
Lift up your heads, O ancient gates. Lift them, doors shaped by time. Something holy is drawing near, something older than fear. I stand before these broken doors, dust on my hands, blood on my name. I have seen the weight of battle, I have felt the cost of praise. I have watched the strong fall silent, I have watched the proud retreat. Now I ask the question, trembling, who is strong enough to meet? Who comes without a crown? King of glory that makes the mighty bow. Not a king of mortal power, not a voice of empty flame, not a throne the world assembled, not a banner bearing shame. He is strong when hope is failing, he is fierce when darkness stands. He is Lord of every battle, won by nail and wounded hand. Who is this King of glory, who walks through fear and flame? Of glory, the Lord who knows my Lift the gates, not the stone ones, the ones inside your chest. Lift the door, not of cities, but the ones you sealed in dread. He does not force the opening, he waits for your reply. The King of glory stands outside and calls you by your life. The Lord bends my will. The Lord bends my will. The Lord bends my will.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. And his mother and brothers arrived, and standing outside they sent to him, calling him, and the crowd was sitting around him. And they said to him, Behold, your mother and your brothers are outside, seeking you. And responding to them, he said, Who is my mother and my brothers? And looking around at those who were sitting all around him, he said, Behold, my mother and my brothers. For whoever has done the will of God, the same is my brother and my sister and mother. Join us for today's reflection. David danced, not a dignified sway, not a restrained shuffle appropriate for a king. The Hebrew says he danced with all his might, wearing nothing but a linen ephod, essentially priestly undergarments. The most powerful man in Israel, leaping and spinning through the streets of Jerusalem like a child at a birthday party, while the Ark of the Covenant processed into the city on the shoulders of the Levites. 3 months earlier, this same procession had ended in disaster. David had tried to bring the ark to Jerusalem on a new cart, the way the Philistines had returned it years before. When the oxen stumbled, and a man named Uzzah reached out to steady the ark, God struck him dead on the spot. David was terrified. He abandoned the ark at the house of a man named Obed-Edom and went home shaken. But then word came that the household of Obed-Edom was being blessed beyond measure because of the ark's presence. Everything they touched prospered. Their crops flourished. Their children thrived. The presence of God that had seemed so dangerous was actually bringing abundant life to those who received it properly. David realized his mistake. The ark was never meant to be transported on a cart like common cargo. God had given specific instructions. The Levites were to carry it on poles on their shoulders. The problem was not God's holiness, but Israel's casual approach to it. So David tried again, this time doing it right. Every 6 steps, he stopped to sacrifice an ox and a fatling. The procession that had been rushed the first time now moved with reverent deliberation. And David danced. The psalm today was almost certainly composed for this very procession. Lift up your heads, O gates, be lifted up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may enter. Picture the call and response as the procession approached Jerusalem's walls. The Levites carrying the ark would cry out, Lift up your heads, O gates, and the gatekeepers would shout back, Who is this King of glory? The answer thundered through the streets, The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. This was not the entrance of a human king. This was God himself coming to dwell among his people. The ark represented his throne, the mercy seat where heaven touched earth. For the first time, God's visible presence would reside in Jerusalem, the city David had conquered and made his capital. The gates themselves were commanded to lift their heads in reverence. What made David dance like this? He was the king. He had dignity to protect, a reputation to maintain. But David understood something that changes everything. He was not dancing for the crowd. He was dancing for the Lord. The text says he danced before the Lord, not before the people. His audience was one. And when it was over, David did not retreat to his palace. He blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts. Then he personally distributed food to every single person in the crowd, man and woman alike, a loaf of bread, a cut of roast meat, and a raisin cake. The king became a servant. The one who had danced with abandon now fed his people with his own hands. This brings us to the gospel, where Jesus redefines family itself. His mother and brothers arrive and stand outside the crowded house where he is teaching. Word is passed through the crowd. Your mother and brothers are outside looking for you. Mark has already told us why they came. Just verses earlier, we learned that his family thought he had lost his mind and came to take him home, to protect him from himself and to protect themselves from the scandal he was causing. Jesus looks around at the people sitting in a circle at his feet. These are the ones who left everything to follow him, who abandoned their nets and their tax booths and their former lives. And he says, "Who are my mother and my brothers? Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother." This is not a rejection of Mary. This is an expansion of family beyond blood. The same thing is happening that happened at the gates of Jerusalem. The King of Glory is entering, and the question is whether we will lift up our heads and let him in, or whether we will stand outside sending messages, trying to manage him, worried about what the neighbors think. David danced because the presence of God was worth more to him than his dignity. Jesus redefines family because doing the will of God creates bonds stronger than blood. Both readings are asking the same question: what are you willing to look foolish for? What matters more to you than what people think? The family who stood outside sending messages would eventually come inside. Mary would stand at the foot of the cross. James would lead the church in Jerusalem. But in this moment, they were on the outside, and the ones sitting at Jesus' feet were his true family. The gates of your heart have the same choice today. The King of Glory approaches. You can lift up your head and let him in, even if it means looking foolish, even if your family thinks you have lost your mind, even if the dignified thing would be to stay still and maintain appearances. Or you can stand outside sending messages, trying to manage God on your terms. David danced with all his might. What would it look like for you to do the same?